I was about to take my daughter to Disney for a few days. My daughter was fussy about what clothes and shoes to take, as she lately tends to be, and answering in an impatient and exasperated tone. It goes like this. My wife tells her, "You should take these shoes." "No, I want those. I don't like these. Those are dirty. You can't take them. You always make me take the ones you want, not the ones I like." And similar arguments with the clothes. My wife came to me to complain about our daughter's attitude, which is normally very good, but lately has been like this, especially around clothes. Even if my wife lets her choose, she will find a reason to fight. I told my daughter, in front of my wife, that no matter what, it is never okay to talk to mom or anyone else like that. We should always use a respectful tone, and if she didn't like the clothes, it is fine, just don't say it like that. She told my wife she was sorry. Then my wife came to me and said, "I don't understand why she always talks to me like that." She doesn't, only sometimes, and apologizes afterward. I did a foolish thing and told my wife that she tends to speak to our daughter in that same exasperated tone. I've told you a million times. You never do it right, and toxic wording like that, and that set the tone for their communication. I told her that yes, our daughter was wrong to speak like that, but she should work on creating a healthier way of communicating with her. She got very angry and stopped talking to either of us. I tried talking with her about what was wrong, and she said to both of us, "It's clear you both don't love me, so I won't talk with you. Don't talk to me anymore." I was dumbfounded. I didn't expect her to take it that badly. She didn't talk to us the whole afternoon, didn't kiss our daughter goodnight, and stayed in bed with her phone the next morning while we were preparing to leave. My daughter, pretty scared of speaking with her, still tried going to her bed and saying, "Mommy, we're leaving." She looked up as if she was looking at something disgusting and just looked back at her phone. So we left. It's been 3 days. Yesterday afternoon, after crying a little, my daughter told me she missed Mom. She said she was sad Mom didn't hug or kiss her goodbye and asked me if she could message Mom. Of course I said yes, and she FaceTimed her. She picked up and talked like nothing had happened. "Hey sweetie, having a good time?" Yeah, are you okay Mom? I'm a bit depressed because it's raining and I can't go to the restaurant I want. At that moment, by the way, after what happened, after 2 days of silence, our daughter calls you and you say, "You're depressed because it's raining?" Maybe she didn't know how to say she was sad and that's what came to mind. I mean, what the heck? Anyways, my daughter said, "I didn't like how you got angry the last day." "Oh yeah, I want you to tell me you're sorry." That surprised me, my daughter saying it like that. "I'm sorry." "Okay, Mom, talk later. Bye, have fun." And that was yesterday. Today, my daughter sent some half-hearted messages. "Hey Mom, we're in the queue for this and that." "Hey Mom, it's so hot today." Things like that, which my wife answered like nothing happened. "Oh, good. Did you like that place?" "Oh, remember to drink more water." And now I'm feeling lost, angry, disappointed. I'm pretty sure when we're back, she will act like nothing happened. And if I call her on that, she will say, "You two are just too sensitive." I'll say sorry if it will make you feel better. So I'm sitting on the floor in a hotel, my daughter on the bed, and not a word from Mom except replies to my daughter. By the way, normally she wouldn't stop messaging me, asking for pictures, asking to FaceTime anytime we could, asking my daughter to tell her everything about her day. And it's not the first time something similar to this has happened, and I'm quite frankly sick of it. So do I just ignore her? As in, you didn't want me to talk with you, right? Well, I'm not going to, unless necessary, to see if you finally realize that words have consequences. Or I could tell her, "Sorry, but what you did is unacceptable. You made our daughter very sad for a few days, just because I told you that you maybe should work on improving your communication with her." I swear to God, that's all I said. I'm not really seeing options. Right now, I'm just disappointed. And angry, pretty angry. In a way that I am really enjoying Disney with my daughter, but I'm thinking of making some extreme changes in my life. So, there's that. Any suggestions? Almost forgot, she didn't come because she doesn't like theme parks. Both my daughter and I would have preferred her to come and enjoy with us, but we understand she doesn't like it, so we decided to go by ourselves. Everybody was happy about it. On the afternoon when we were preparing the luggage, we three were doing it together. 2 small backpacks. I picked my clothes, toiletries, umbrella for the sun, and other stuff. It took us 10 minutes. Some comments assume my wife spent the whole afternoon packing while I was watching football or something. Not the case. I don't like football. Sorry, bad joke. To add, so many comments are saying, my mom was exactly like that. I had no idea this kind of behavior was so common. I'm so sorry for you who had to grow up in this kind of environment, and I'll make sure my daughter doesn't have to. I'm pretty sure my wife can change and never repeat this. Now for an update. So, I was ready for 3 scenarios. First, the most probable. She just acted as if nothing happened and went back to being a loving wife and mother, ignoring what happened before the trip. Second, she doubled down and kept acting cold and angry and/or not talking to me at all. Third, she apologized for what happened and understood that what she did was wrong. I was expecting the first, hoping for the third, and fearing the second. I spent some time mentally preparing for all of those scenarios, and the responses I felt better for them, many of which were inspired by many comments on this post. Thank you. So, the third scenario happened. She said she was very sorry, that she has been feeling down lately, and that somehow her anxiety about being without our daughter and me for a week got out of her hands. We traveled before without her, but not for this many days. I apologized for not having recognized that she was that stressed, and for bringing up the need to improve her communication with our daughter at the very worst time. She said she agrees that she needs to improve that, and that she doesn't feel it was the wrong time. She agreed to take steps so that this doesn't happen again. She asked me how I felt, and I told her that I still feel hurt and to give me some days. I can't just be back to my normally optimistic, bubbly self right after this. And I may need to wait for more than just a few days until I see we are taking appropriate steps in the right direction to improve, first and foremost, our daughter's well-being. And second, our marriage. Our daughter is very happy to be back with her mother. In my view, it may not be the healthiest type of happy, and I don't think my English vocabulary is good enough to express what I mean. As in, you can love someone who makes you happy, or you can love someone who sometimes hurts you but sometimes loves you back. I don't think that's how she normally feels about Mom, but on this occasion, it may very well be. So thanks everyone for the comments, especially those who disagreed but were constructive and tried their best to change my mind about this or that. I didn't expect this many answers, and I'll find a way to save this post for offline viewing in the coming years. Lots of love to everyone. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Okay, OP, while your wife's behavior to shut down like that and give the silent treatment is not okay in any way, she's an adult. She needs to know better. Maybe you could have framed your words better while asking her to improve the way she communicates. She most likely took it as you both thinking all she does is nag, but she could have handled the situation better. Which brings me to the next point. Reading all your responses, all I see is that you're the cool parent, the good cop. Your daughter loves you fiercely, you rarely tell her to do anything, and all that. So does your wife have to be the bad cop all the time? You said she's a stay-at-home mom. She's most likely with her most of the time, so she might have a more stern approach to parenting. Also, why are you perplexed that your wife and daughter made up? Maybe she had the time to reflect while you both were gone, and maybe she wanted this under the bridge. Regardless, you and your wife need to have a proper conversation about this whole fiasco, and I hope you both take the right steps. Comment 2. My mom was like this. She would give us all the silent treatment for days when she was unhappy. It is emotionally hurtful, as another poster said. It is a way to control and punish people for not acting how she wants them to act. It is terrible behavior. It will get worse if or when she feels like she is losing control of you or your daughter. Your wife may, and I stress the word may, see your daughter as a possession. When that possession doesn't treat her the way she wants to be treated, she will react very poorly. You will begin to be able to predict when she will act like this and walk on eggshells. Good luck. No one in my family speaks to my mother anymore. Now for the update. 2 days after the fight, I was trying to be the bigger person and planned a family dinner for my daughter's birthday. She was turning 8 and was obsessed with birthdays, like most kids. She was begging for a party, but we were barely on speaking terms, so that wasn't happening. I invited both sets of grandparents to try and create a nice atmosphere. My wife was still a little off and almost surprised that I was planning anything at all. She agreed to help with the dinner preparations, but not much else. We mostly worked separately to get things done. As we set the table, it felt like there was still an invisible wall between us. My daughter was buzzing with excitement about her cake, a surprise I ordered from her favorite bakery. My wife made a comment about how the decorations were not good enough. It felt like she was looking for a fight. I just raised an eyebrow at her and moved on. So, during dinner, the grandparents noticed the tension and tried to lighten the mood with jokes and stories from when they were younger. My daughter beamed when her cake was brought out, and we all sang happy birthday to her. It was the highlight of the evening for sure. The wife's phone buzzed repeatedly during the gift opening, and she ended up stepping away to check it. I'm not usually the snooping type, but I'm human. I couldn't help myself. I quietly texted her, asking if everything was okay. She didn't respond, but came back looking flustered. It was not a good look on her. The grandparents began discussing family vacations and all that, which made my wife leave the table again. I followed her into the kitchen, where she was pacing and looking at her phone. I asked if she needed help, but she snapped at me, saying she didn't want to talk about it. So I just let it go for the moment, thinking it best to avoid any escalation. Later that night, after the guests left, my wife expressed her frustration about feeling overwhelmed. I suggested we talk about it, but she brushed me off, saying it was too complicated. I was lost. This was getting worse, not better. The next morning, while I was doing laundry, I found a message on her phone about a job opportunity in a different state. I confronted her about it, which led to a heated argument about moving and family stability. She accused me of holding her back and not supporting her dreams. The mention of moving made me feel even more blindsided, and I knew we had to stop the argument for now. We agreed to revisit it later. A few days passed, and she was still distracted, often scrolling through job postings. I planned a family outing to a local amusement park to ease the tension. My daughter was excited, and I figured it would be good for all of us. During the outing, my daughter noticed her mom's distraction and asked if everything was all right. My wife forced a smile and said she was just tired. I caught her looking at her phone again, but I didn't say anything. I didn't want to ruin the day. After returning home, I found her packing a suitcase while I was doing laundry. I confronted her about what she was doing, and she snapped that she needed space. I was at my limit, so I revealed that I had contacted a friend who lived in the state she was considering moving to. The friend offered to help me understand the job market and potential living situations. My wife was taken aback by what I did, and it turned into another heated conversation. We agreed to take a break from discussing the future, but the tension was still there. I felt like I was losing my family, and I had to do something. As a last-ditch effort, I suggested we seek family counseling to work through our issues. She reluctantly agreed, and I saw a little glimmer of hope in her eyes. We scheduled our first session. I felt like we were on the path to some sort of resolution, and I was holding on to that hope for dear life. Mini update. After the counseling session, my wife and I had a heart-to-heart talk. We realized we had been drifting apart for years. Am I the idiot for breaking up with my girlfriend after she treated my surgery like a minor inconvenience? I had surgery last Tuesday to get one of my testicles removed. Due to this, I am having difficulty with walking and other forms of movement. My girlfriend is moving away for college and had a going-away party yesterday to celebrate this. When I told her that I could not go due to the pain from the surgery, she was furious and mentioned the surgery like it was some sort of minor inconvenience rather than a major surgery. However, I am shocked that she is mad that I didn't attend her party when she did not think of visiting me since I had the surgery almost a week ago. When I asked her why she didn't visit me, she said that she cannot drive and that she is too busy and has a life. And it's not as if she does not understand the pain of post-operation, as she had a surgery that made her bedbound for 3 weeks not long ago. We are having a call today to discuss our post-party visit, but frankly, after what she told me about the reasons she didn't see me, I am extremely hurt. How do I approach this? To add, just for your information, she was on vacation until Wednesday night. My surgery was on Tuesday, so she couldn't have seen me that day, but she could have seen me any day after. Her excuse for not seeing me was that I didn't ask her to, and that she was going to see me anyway at the party on Saturday. Also, she said that the reason she was upset was that the party had everyone that she cared about, and she really wanted me to meet them. Potential breakup text. I wasn't angry, and I'm not at the moment, but what you said to me last night is upsetting. I just had surgery to get my testicle removed, and the only thing you care about is that I didn't go to your party. I told you I am not in the physical and mental place to go to your party, but instead of being understanding, you got mad at me. You also didn't visit me after my surgery, and okay, I am not even angry or upset about that, even though if it was the other way around, I would have visited you, and I don't know any loving relationship that wouldn't visit the other after an operation. I was willing to put that aside and put it down to you being upset, but when you called me last night, you told me that the reason you didn't see me and get the bus was because you were busy and have a life. I wasn't upset about any of the other things you have said, but that really hurt me. You expect me to get to your house for a party when you wouldn't even get a bus to see me? It wasn't even the fact that you didn't visit me after the surgery that made me decide to end it, but the way you reacted afterwards. All I wanted was a bit of compassion and empathy to realize that if your boyfriend couldn't attend your party due to recovery, you could understand. That's all I asked for, so I think it's a good time to go our separate ways since you are too busy and have a life. Now for an update. I broke up with her, and now she is apologizing and begging me not to leave. She says she's going to come over to my house now and talk it out. She says she's had a hard week with moving and didn't mean what she said. What do I do? New update. We are meeting tomorrow to discuss it. Depending on how she responds, I will decide then. To all those people that say she is clearly going to leave me when she goes to college, she is nonstop calling me and texting me, begging for me not to leave and that she will change and didn't mean it. If she was going to leave, she wouldn't be trying so hard to keep it together. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Your girlfriend is an immature, unempathic, egotistical child. It's good you found out now rather than 10 years down the line when you've wasted your life on someone who only cares about herself. You should let her go. There are enough women out there who will care for you that you don't need to settle for this. Comment 2. You handle this by breaking up with her and finding someone who can stay by your side and support you while going through surgery. Having a testicle removed must have also really had an impact on your mental health, and you don't deserve to deal with this at the moment. What an awful person your girlfriend is. Now for the update. After I sent my ex a breakup text, we met at a coffee shop the next day. She was late, like really late. When she finally showed up, she looked like she had just rolled out of bed. I mean, her hair was all over the place, bags under her eyes, the whole works. Immediately, she started with the apologies, saying she was sorry for how she acted yesterday. I just sat there and listened as she went on about her week, saying how crazy it was moving to college. She was all stressed about leaving home, telling me how overwhelmed she felt. Totally get that. College is a huge transition, but she didn't even ask about my recovery after surgery. I had to point that out. When I did, she kind of brushed it off, saying she was just focused on her stuff. What I went through was a huge deal, and I really needed her support. When I said that, she insisted she didn't mean what she said during our last convo. She said it was just a heat-of-the-moment thing. We talked a bit about our relationship, and she promised me she'd be there for me if I took her back. Then I had to remind her that she didn't even visit me after my surgery. She just sat there looking embarrassed. She offered to help me with anything I needed, even running errands. On our way out, we made plans to meet at her new dorm for dinner the following week. That week, She texted me asking if I could help her unpack. I agreed, remembering all the good times we had together. When I got there, her new place was still a total mess. Boxes everywhere, just like a tornado had hit. We spent hours unpacking, and honestly, the atmosphere was way lighter than our last meeting. While organizing, I found a picture of her with another guy and casually asked who he was. She hesitated before saying he was just a friend from orientation. She seemed nervous, which I couldn't help but notice. We kept unpacking, and she was laughing and reminiscing about our past. At one point, she suggested we go out for pizza to celebrate our reunion. During dinner, though, she was kind of distracted, always checking her phone. I thought it was weird, but didn't say anything. I decided to bring up my surgery again, just to see if she actually cared. She said she was worried about me, but just didn't show it in her actions. I noticed her phone kept buzzing with notifications from that same guy from the picture. After dinner, we went back to her dorm, and she suggested watching a movie. The movie night turned awkward, though, because she kept scrolling through her phone. I finally confronted her about the guy, asking if they were just friends. She got all defensive, saying he was nothing compared to what we had. I mean, come on. If he's nothing, why are you on your phone so much? After that, I just decided to leave. As I was walking out, she pleaded with me to stay and give her another chance. I told her I needed time to think and walked out. One evening, she messaged me asking to meet again. I agreed, wanting to clarify things once and for all, especially since I was thinking about moving on. We met at a local diner, and she came in looking more put together this time. She looked serious as she sat down, ready for a real convo. I told her I needed someone who would prioritize me, especially after surgery. She nodded and finally admitted she had been selfish during our time apart. To answer a few questions, she admitted that the other guy was a friend she had developed feelings for while moving. She reassured me that nothing physical happened between them, but she had been emotionally unfaithful. I appreciated her honesty and decided it was best for us to part ways for good. Am I the idiot for snooping through my wife's phone and finding out she wants a girlfriend on the side? We had an encounter with a woman 2 weeks ago at a bar who was hitting on my wife and proposing a threesome, and my wife did not handle it appropriately. We have discussed being strictly monogamous many times, and I felt blindsided by my wife essentially looking to me to completely handle the situation, almost like she was asking for permission. I know she is attracted to women and had one bad dating experience long before we were together, but that's all I knew. I continued to have a bad feeling and eventually caved to my urges to snoop through her phone. We know each other's codes and occasionally use each other's phones for specific things, and I've never thought to snoop before. I found a message in her girls' group chat that she was looking for a girlfriend on the side, and her friend responded by connecting her with a woman who was newly single and looking for a girlfriend. My wife specifically referred to it as a blind date in the messages and said that she was excited. I knew she had a drink with this woman a couple of times back then, and they didn't continue to hang out, but I assumed it was just a friendly drink. I confronted my wife about the messages, and we talked a lot about it. She apologized many times and said she was just entertaining the idea and would have told me if it turned into anything. She insists that nothing happened more than having a drink and chatting twice. She deals with depression and misses her female friends who live 3 hours away now. Her reasoning was that she wasn't feeling desired by me and was looking for female companionship, whether it was friendly or more. I am certainly not blameless, and we have intimacy disconnects to work on, which we are now. I can't shake feeling betrayed and deceived. I hate that I found out 2 years later and that I had to snoop through her phone to know what's been going on in her head. I don't think she believed me when I said I would rather have a difficult, I don't feel desired discussion up front than have her going on dates behind my back. I would never in a million years entertain dating someone else behind her back. I would have a difficult discussion up front about what I feel is lacking or what I need. I guess the advice I'm looking for is, am I overanalyzing this, and how can I trust her going forward? Nothing happened between my wife and the other woman as far as I know. I didn't find anything else suspect in her phone. I want to move forward and not dwell on this, but it feels like she doesn't see how much she has truly hurt me. The amount of love between us feels unbalanced. I keep thinking she can't possibly love me as much as I love her if she went on dates behind my back. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, brother, you are underreacting. It doesn't matter if she's looking for a man or a woman on the side. She is okay with the idea of cheating on you. Her friends are helping her. She doesn't care about your feelings. People like to downplay the connection between two women, as if it doesn't count as much as a man and a woman. But let me tell you, it counts just as much. Your wife is unfaithful, and you deserve way better than this. Comment 2, wow, the only date she ever went on is the one you found out about. Nothing else to confess. What a coincidence. She was publicly looking to cheat on you. You are right to distrust her and see your relationship as unbalanced. I don't see how you can move forward on this unless she takes accountability and makes amends, which is not the same thing as just saying sorry. Now for the update. A few months have gone by since my wife and I had that talk about her wanting companionship outside our marriage. Honestly, I wish I could say things got better after that, but they didn't. We went to couples counseling, but it felt more like a chore than anything else. The therapist would talk, and we'd just sit there, going through the motions. Sometimes my wife would open up about feeling stifled, like she was trapped. I get that everyone has their issues, but her wanting to explore outside our marriage, that was a big no for me. Anyway, Christmas came and went. We tried to keep things normal for the family, but it was super awkward. My parents even noticed something was off during Thanksgiving. They asked if everything was okay, and we just gave them some lame excuse. Spending more time with our families was what we needed. They didn't need to know about our issues. Then came New Year's Eve. We ended up at a friend's house for a party, and things just went downhill from there. My wife was there, and so was the woman from a few months back. I don't even know her name, and honestly, I don't want to. She kept flirting with my wife, and my wife was flirting right back. They were dancing together, and it felt like everyone was watching. We were with friends, but it felt like I was the only one who saw what was going on. I tried to ignore it, but I couldn't. I ended up snapping at my wife in front of everyone, and yeah, it was embarrassing. I told her to cut it out, and she just said she was tired of feeling controlled. She wanted to explore her options, whatever that means. After the party, we had this big fight in the car. I couldn't even talk to her because she wasn't listening. She said I wasn't hearing her either. It was just a mess. And to top it all off, the next week she moved out. She took her essentials and nothing else. She didn't even say goodbye. A few days later, I got this text from her. She's staying with the woman. Yeah, it's just as bad as it sounds. I feel like I'm losing my mind. We were supposed to work through our issues together, but she's off living it up with some woman I don't even know. I don't even know what to do anymore. Edit. My wife and I had our first child a year before all this happened. I thought having a baby would strengthen our relationship, but it seems like it did the opposite for us. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.